Tonight at 5, we're following up after a UW-Madison student was arrested for making shooting threats on social media.
Plus, happening today, some pandemic-era benefits are coming to an end today. How thousands across Dane County will be impacted.
And good news for those with diabetes after a drug maker announces a major cut to insulin costs. You're watching News 3 now at 5. We're only learning today what happened just after midnight back on February 24th. The FBI had UW-Madison police arrest a student who had made an active shooter threat on the UW campus.
Police found an unloaded revolver and ammunition in the 26-year-old grad student's off-campus apartment. They arrested Thomas Hansen and banned him from campus. Our Andrew Banstra spoke to students today who are a little bit on edge about hearing this news today. Andrew?
Yeah, that's right, they are. And the students I talked to tied it to the recent Michigan State shooting and had one big question for authorities. Why are they just learning about this now?
Makes me a little scared to be, on campus knowing that there's a lot of things like this that happen.
On February 23rd, the FBI flagged a yik-yak post from a 26-year-old electric engineering student at UW, Thomas Hansen. The post showed Hansen was angry about a canceled date, saying in part, "I think I should stop trying to date and start sneaking guns into crowded school buildings." He also told a friend, "Don't go to Bascom Hall next week."
It's honestly unsurprising at this point, just with everything that has happened over the past 20 years.
Police arrested him on terrorist threat charges on Friday morning around 9 a.m. and banned him from campus. But students were frustrated that they didn't hear about this in real time.
I'm from South Florida, so the Parkland shooting felt very close to home, and I wish that campus might make those threats known to the students in real time.
Madison Police's Steph Fryer explained how the investigation unfolded.
In this case, a threat was posted to a social media platform. The FBI became aware of that, immediately contacted us. We read the threat. Obviously, it mentioned UW campus. So at that point, we start working with UW PD.
After making his initial appearance in court on Tuesday, he was released on a signature bond. 10 days after a shooter left 3 dead at Michigan State, Hansen's excuse to the FBI was that the posts were a joke. Students aren't buying it.
I think anyone making jokes about that should obviously be investigated fully by the university, because those things are not funny and threats have very real consequences.
Hansen right now is being tracked by a GPS ankle monitor and can only enter campus with written express permission from UW's Dean of Students. His next court appearance is scheduled for March 24th.
Andrew, thank you. Let's get a look now at your first warn forecast on this March 1st. Julian Seawright is on the weather patio. Hi, Julian.
Hey, guys. And man, what a beautiful day it is to start off and kick off March 1st and meteorological spring. I know for many people, they don't really know what that is, but this is marking the first day in the weather world of spring for us. And honestly, southern Wisconsin is following suit. Temperatures, sunshine, all of it is feeling great outside right now. Though it's a bit on the breezy side, but that's why we're seeing temperatures that have been into the lower 50s throughout much of our afternoon. And we are going to see a sharp drop-off heading into tonight. We're looking at lower 40s by 7 p.m. and the 30s by the time we get into the later parts of tonight. So until then, enjoy this weather, and I hope you were able to enjoy much of this afternoon. Right now, it's still 51 in Madison, 52 for Janesville, about 50 for Platteville, but that cold air is starting to make its way. So you can see those 30s into the far northwest starting to roll their way in. Here's a look around Dane County, though. 51 for Middleton, and everywhere else is pretty uniform. Our friends in Oregon are at 52 degrees. Now, outside of that, wind speeds are still rather breezy coming in from the west. You can see the stronger winds holding into the 22 miles per hour range coming from Prairie du Chien and for Platteville heading their way towards us. Now, tonight we're looking for a low around the upper 20s. It will be a cloudy one setting the stage for another cloudy day as we head into our Thursday, but at least things will be quiet. Now, we still have the alert day in the forecast for Friday for accumulating snow. We'll be breaking down the details and the latest changes that we've seen in a few moments. Until then, back to you guys.
All right, Julian, thank you. Starting today, about 20,000 people in Dane County will have a harder time affording food.
Well, that's thanks to the end of the pandemic-era Extra Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, funding. Our Braden Ross spoke with one local food bank today to learn how they're responding here. Braden?
Since these expanded SNAP benefits first started during the pandemic, they've helped thousands of Wisconsinites put food on the table every night. But now that they're ending, food pantries and local government are trying to pick up the slack. Dane County Executive Joe Parisi included $7.5 million of funding for food banks in his 2023 budget. $6 million of that is designated to Second Harvest Food Bank, one of the many organizations now bracing for more need.
It's about 1.4 million meals that are going to be lost in Dane County alone every month. And so where are those folks going to go to get those meals? And the reality is they're going to go to our partner agencies in order to get that support.
They say the need hasn't slowed down from pandemic levels, even though funding has, which makes it hard for food banks to keep up. If you'd like to help, you can find all the information you need to donate or volunteer online at secondharvestmadison.org.
Braden, thank you. New at 5, Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers says he will make a decision about his future with the team, quote, soon enough. The 39-year-old recently discussed his future while speaking on an episode of the Aubrey Marcus podcast. Rodgers said there's a finality to the decision that he doesn't take lightly, and he also doesn't want to drag anybody around. Yesterday, Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst said they haven't officially spoken to Rodgers about his future, but hopes a decision would be made by the start of free agency on March 15th. This week, the Department of Ag, Trade, and Consumer Protection is celebrating the Bureau of Weights and Measures. Over the past couple years, data shows the department has had an increase in fines for violations.
Our Catherine Merck tells us about some of the increases the department has seen in the past year for holding businesses accountable. Catherine?
Well, last year, DATCAP weights and measures inspections resulted in over $300,000 taken back from companies not giving consumers the full value of their product. Take a look at some of the trends over the past 2 years. In 2021, DATCAP charged a total of around $204,000. That number was up nearly 100,000 more fines in 2022. Those fines toward businesses come after DATCAP finds things like low fuel quality, product quantity misrepresentations, and other violations. DATCAP says this is because fines go higher for repeat offenders, which they had some of.
When you have repeat violators, we have a progressive enforcement procedure, and as the same violation occurs with the same violators, we progressively increase the enforcement.
The department says this week it's celebrating many years aiming to give consumers the most accurate prices possible. The first U.S. Weights and Measures law was by President John Adams back on this week in 1799.
All right, Catherine, thank you. Closing arguments now underway in the murder trial of Alex Murdaugh, the former South Carolina attorney who has pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of murder and 2 weapons charges in the 2021 killings of his wife and son. Cole Higgins now with the latest from South Carolina.
The jurors who will decide the fate of Alex Murdaugh finally touring the sprawling property where Murdaugh's wife and youngest son were shot and killed in June 2021. The jury spending most of their time at the family's dog kennels and the shed where Maggie and Paul died. Seeing for the first time in person areas that have been the subject of much testimony. Testimony that included Murdaugh admitting on the stand he lied to investigators about where he was on the night of the murders.
Day number 27. And you have heard all of the testimony, received all of the evidence.
The lead prosecutor detailing Murdaugh's financial troubles, opioid addiction, and what he described as unbearable pressures, telling jurors during closing arguments,
there's only one person who had the motive, who had the means, who had the opportunity to commit these crimes. The defendant is the person on which a storm was descending, and the defendant is a person where his own storm would actually mean consequences for Maggie and Paul.
The prosecution also reminding jurors of the forensic evidence they say shows Murdaugh manufactured his alibi.
What were you doing from 9:02 to 9:06? Those are questions he doesn't want to answer because he lies convincingly and easily, and he can do it at the drop of the hat. And you've heard testimony about that. He's been doing it to all the people who trust him for years.
I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
Now, even if the jury finds Murdaugh not guilty of these murders, he's still facing the possibility of decades in prison if convicted on most or all of the 99 charges he faces for alleged financial crimes.
Now to Greece, where at least 43 people are dead after a head-on collision between a passenger train and a freight train. The crash happened just before midnight north of Athens. Rescue crews continue to comb through debris for survivors. It's unclear what caused the collision, but authorities arrested arrested the station master in charge of the signals on the tracks and detained at least 2 other people for questioning. The country's transport minister also resigned, saying it was out of respect for the victims. Emotional testimony was heard on Capitol Hill today as the House held a hearing looking into the national fentanyl crisis. Fentanyl has become the leading cause of death for Americans ages 18 to 45, according to the CDC. While politicians on both sides of the aisle agree there needs to be stronger policies to stem the flow of the drug into the U.S., the solutions have become very political. Republicans say more needs to be done to strengthen the border, while Democrats say immigrants are not the problem.
To ignore the smuggling that occurs between our ports of entry is simply irresponsible and dangerous.
While it is true that a great deal of fentanyl comes into the United States from Mexico, it is overwhelmingly U.S. citizens, not migrants, who are bringing it in.
There was also a lot of discussion about the U.S. policy with China, where the majority of components for fentanyl are made.
25 years ago this week, Father Alfred Coons was found brutally murdered at a parish school in the small northern Dane County village of Dane. All these years later, it remains one of Dane County's most disturbing unsolved cases. As we approach this anniversary of the priest's passing this weekend, it raises the question for now retired Sheriff Dave Mahoney, who was just a detective back then when it happened, will it ever be solved?
Because it's 25 years old, you start to worry about, 1, people getting apathetic to the case, 2, people dying off that may have information.
Well, Mahoney prioritized the case during his time as sheriff, and one of his great regrets was retiring without solving it. We revisit the case for the complete story. Join us tonight at 10. Next at 5, how one Georgia woman is making the great outdoors more accessible for people in wheelchairs.
And soon, people will be paying a lot less for insulin. We'll have details on that when we return. Tonight at 6, many young athletes are getting ready for the spring sports season. How you can help them prepare coming up tonight at 6.
Going to check out the markets in midweek trading. The Dow up just 5. The NASDAQ, though, falls more than 76. The S&P down almost 19. We'll be right back.
Is confidence in a bottle.
Not only does it change you on the outside, but something on the inside, knowing that you're looking better.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt in my life.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes in as little as 10 minutes, no prescriptions, and very little effort. Even watching the video, this is a real, it's a model, but it's a real guy with real bags underneath his eyes.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good. Feels great. Looks even better.
And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. He calls me every single month saying, "Hey, Annette, I'm out of Plexiderm, please send me more." And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles. The way you want to do it is you want to have a clean, dry face. You use a small amount because it's so powerful. You have high school reunions, you have events you want to go to, you want to look years younger, this is it.
At our $19.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Visit plexidermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
Fjords has been crafting beautifully designed functional furniture since 1941. Every aspect of Fjords furniture has been carefully engineered to create a higher level of relaxation. Right now at the Century House, purchase any Fjords furniture and receive up to 20% off. All models, all sizes, all colors. Experience the unmatched relaxation you can only achieve in Fjords furniture. Relaxation made beautiful. Visit the Century House at 3420 University Avenue in Madison or online at centuryhouseinc.com.
We have a first warn alert day in the forecast for accumulating snow that could impact your Friday. We'll add the details coming up.
Then how food pantries are preparing to help more people after expanded SNAP benefits come to an end. Tonight at 6.
News 3 Now's Call for Action team gets results.
We're taking action for you.
Nearly 700 cases closed, more than $500,000 recovered, and we're not finished yet. When you need help, call for action only on News 3 Now. You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Some good news for people living with diabetes. A major drug maker is cutting insulin prices and expanding a cap on costs for people with and without insurance. Wendy Gillette has more.
We're taking the next step to make getting affordable insulin less complicated.
This ad from Eli Lilly announces its new pricing for insulin, capping out-of-pocket costs for diabetes patients at $35 a month. The company will slash prices of its most commonly prescribed insulins by at least 70%.
How badly is this needed? 1 out of 4 people on insulin have needed to ration their insulin, meaning not taking the recommended doses. That puts their health at risk because of the high costs.
The move comes amid pressure from lawmakers and patient advocates as insulin prices more than tripled over the past 2 decades, soaring to hundreds or even over $1,000 a month for the essential drug. President Biden criticized the escalating costs Tuesday.
1 in 10 Americans has diabetes. Every day, millions need insulin to control their diabetes and to stay alive.
The president released a statement about Wednesday's development that says it's a big deal and it's time for other manufacturers to follow. The American Diabetes Association says 37 million Americans have diabetes and 8 million require insulin. The association says low-income Americans are more likely to develop the disease, so price reductions of insulin are especially necessary. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, New York.
Many Sierra Nevada mountain residents are stranded without power tonight as a winter storm continues to blanket California. Overnight blizzard conditions dropped 2 to 3 inches of snow per hour. Sheriff's deputies in Northern California are using snowmobiles to check on trapped residents after many major roadways were shut down. The storm also bringing threats of heavy rain and mudslides to lower regions. And take a look at this. Rangers say some parts of Yosemite National Park got up to 15 feet of snow, and because of that, the park is closed right now. Officials don't exactly know when it will reopen. Crews are working to restore critical services so visitors can safely return. Well, let's get a look at our first warn forecast. Julian is back with your complete forecast. Julian?
Well, I'm glad that we don't have to deal with any of the snow that our friends just into the west are dealing with. But we are still watching for what could change come Friday. So right now, things are going to stay rather quiet. It was gorgeous today. Temperatures were in the 50s, and we had plenty of sunshine. Heading into tonight, it's going to be quiet and a bit colder than it has been over the last couple of nights. But then we're going to continue to be dry until we get into Friday morning, where we are looking for our commutes to potentially have some snow into it. So let's talk about tonight. Temperatures will fall into the upper 20s for Madison. Much of southern Wisconsin will be into the lower 30s and just a degree or near the freezing point as we reach into our Thursday morning. Now, Thursday in itself is going to be much chillier than it was for today, but still not too bad. Into the upper 30s is pretty typical for the first few days of March, and a few areas into around the 40-degree mark, like for Janesville, and 39 degrees for Platteville. Though it is going to be a cloudy one, so let's plan out what we're going to be expecting. Heading into tonight, it's going to be rather quiet. However, the breezy winds coming in from the north will knock things down to a bit of the chillier side as we head into our Thursday morning. Going into the lunchtime hour, the cloud cover in itself is still going to be sticking around throughout much of southern Wisconsin. But as we get into our Thursday evening, we're going to see those upper 30s, lower 40s, and still staying rather quiet until we start to see a bit of a change heading into our Friday, which is why we do have the alert day, because we could start to see some accumulating snowfall that comes in to our Friday morning and for our Friday evening. So this is what we're going to be watching for. It's mainly going to be accumulating snowfall that could be mainly south of Madison and mainly into the southeastern corridor ranging from 1 to 5 inches of snow. Again, it's going to be mainly near the northern Illinois line, but we could still see, once again, some areas to be a bit of a hazard once we get into our morning commutes and for the evening as well. Now, walking through, we could see there's been a lot of uncertainty with this particular system, and it continues to trend itself a bit south, but some are still trending a bit north. Here's one of the models that we were going to be watching for going into our early Friday morning. You can see it pretty much just misses all of the upper Midwest and really stays into the middle parts of Illinois and south, where it's going to continue to track, just bringing in a bit more rain towards the Chicago area. But we have another one where it's going to be trending a bit more north, which would be bringing in not just rain, but some snow and a bit of some mixing as some of that warmer air aloft starts to mix a bit of that rainfall with it, but still clips just parts of Dane County and into the southeastern parts of southern Wisconsin. So there's still some things to watch for, and many of this can change, but here's what we are looking at from the first warm weather team. Maybe 1 to 3 inches of snowfall for much of southern Wisconsin, a bit more into the southeastern corridor, especially near Chicago. Here's a quick look at our 10-day forecast. Outside of that, heading into the weekend, we may see some snow late for Sunday, but temperatures are going to stay into the lower 40s and stay rather quiet. It's a quick update on our traffic as of right now. Rather smooth along US 12 and 18 off of Monona Drive and along the Beltline. Still looking at some pretty good conditions as well. It's going to do it for our traffic and weather. Over to you.
All right, Julian, thank you. Madison Public Library has reopened its Seed Library for the season at 5 library locations. The Seed Library has existed in some form since 2014. This year's Sequoia Library was added as a new location. The Seed Library offers a variety of vegetable, herb, fruit, and flower seeds from now through September. There is no limit to the number of seed packets you can request, and each packet contains about 10 seeds.
Enjoying the great outdoors can be a huge challenge for those with impaired mobility, but a new program is offering them a front row seat to places that used to be out of reach, and it's all thanks to one Georgia woman. In 2012, Amy Copeland hurt her calf in a zip-lining accident. The then 24-year-old contracted a flesh-eating bacterial infection, and to save her life, doctors had to amputate her hands, her right foot, and her entire left leg. Copeland was left unable to walk, but wanted to continue to stay active outdoors, and she eventually created a foundation and a program that offers free all-terrain wheelchairs for people.
It is a freeing experience, being out in the middle of the woods with the sun on your face and the breeze and the trees and the birds.
The program is available in 11 state parks and wildlife preserves in Georgia. Another close call at a U.S. airport has the FAA in the hot seat once again. The details coming up next at 5.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Don't miss your chance to see The Lion King, one of the most awe-inspiring productions ever brought to life on stage.
Coming to Overture Center May 11th through 28th. Tickets on sale now at overture.org.
Create your perfect room for entertaining, relaxing, and more with patio enclosures. Right now, get 25% off your sunroom. Plus, enjoy exceptional financing. Call today. Patio enclosures.
Extremist Dan Kelly wants abortion banned, even in cases of rape, incest, and the health of the mother. For years, Kelly was on the payroll of a radical anti-abortion group working to take away women's rights. On the court, Kelly will uphold Wisconsin's 1849 criminal abortion ban that strips women of their freedom to make personal decisions on abortion. Dan Kelly, an extremist who doesn't care about us.
Anytime Fitness is having a 10-day flash sale. For 10 days only, you can join Anytime Fitness for just $1. Get a coach and a community to support you with training, nutrition, and recovery. Now through March 10th, join Anytime Fitness for just $1. Hurry in now. This deal won't last long.
The Big Share and Online Day of Giving is March 7th. Advance social and environmental justice by supporting the nearly 70 nonprofit members of Community Shares of Wisconsin. Even a $5 donation can make change happen. Donate now through March 7th at thebigshare.org.
Could I get the Galley Buster burger? Onions, caramelized. But actually, could I get those raw? Olive. want the best burger of your life? Gotta be Superior.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
The man tapped to lead the FAA faced tough questions during his confirmation hearing today. Many raised concerns about his lack of aviation experience and legal entanglements.
Chris Wynn tells us this comes as the agency contends with multiple problems, including near collisions, staffing shortages, and aging technology.
In the hot seat on Capitol Hill,
the safety of the traveling public will remain my top priority.
Phil Washington, President Joe Biden's pick to lead the Federal Aviation Administration, answering senators' questions Wednesday at his long-awaited confirmation hearing.
As I look at your record, I see a record where you've got experience with buses, you've got experience with trains. Buses and trains are very different from planes.
Senators grilling Washington, who has years of road and rail transportation experience, but less than 2 in aviation, as the CEO of Denver International.
I will own well-intentioned failure, and FAA employees will own their success.
The hearing comes as the FAA investigates an apparent close call at Boston Logan Monday night between 2 planes that came within 565 feet of colliding, according to Flight Radar 24's preliminary review.
They're really going to want to find out, was there a communications breakdown? Was there a distraction involved?
The FAA says the pilot of a Learjet 60 took off without clearance even after being told to wait, as JetBlue Flight 206 was preparing to land on an intersecting runway and had to take evasive action.
The pilots did a really incredible job. I mean, we came in, it was a scary situation, but it was very smooth.
The incident, one of 5 close calls involving a commercial airliner on a runway this year. In Washington, I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
Washington told the Senate committee he spent 24 years in the military and ran various transit agencies.
Its experience, he says, gives him a unique perspective on how aviation and all modes of transportation should integrate into a seamless system. Stay with us for a final check of your First Warn forecast in just a moment.
It's Steinhaffel's Dream Vacation Giveaway. Test rest a Beauty Rest Black mattress at Steinhaffel's for your chance to win a trip to Hawaii. And right now, get your choice of an Apple Watch or Apple AirPods with a purchase of a Beauty Rest Black mattress. Beauty Rest Black mattresses start at just $49 per month when you use Steinhaffel's 72-month financing. So save big and rest easy on your new Beauty Rest mattress from Steinhaffel's. Shop in-store or online today at steinhaffels.com.
It's time to upgrade your kitchen and save big on your next project with 11% off everything. Menards carries a great selection of in-stock appliances. From countertops to cabinetry, we have everything you need to turn your kitchen dreams into reality. Complete your look with quality One Oak cabinets. These cabinets come ready to install, ready to finish, and are ready to take home today. Right now, all quality One cabinetry is 11% off at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
A convicted felon kidnapped and raped a 15-year-old girl, abducting her off the street in broad daylight. Judge Janet Protasewicz could have sentenced him to 20 years. Instead, she put him back on our streets.
What detractors would say is you having been soft on a violent sexual crime.
I would say that that's ridiculous. Judge Protasewicz puts our families at risk, and putting her on our Supreme Court, that's what's ridiculous. Fair Courts America is responsible for the content of this advertising.
There are so many things we take for granted, and along with them, sometimes we take the people who depend on them for granted too. How can they survive with record increases in their basic cost of living, and through no fault of their own, they're being left behind? If you or someone you know needs a hand up, our energy and water providers are working together to keep you safely in your home. You may not ask for it, but we're here to help.
At Revamp, we transform your old beat-up concrete from this to this in one day. We grind down the concrete to open up the pores for a perfect bond. Then we repair all cracks and apply our base coat and chip and seal it with our polyaspartic top coat that will never chip, peel, or discolor. On top of all that, our coatings are ridiculously easy to clean and covered by our exclusive lifetime warranty. And right now, we're running our 60-60-60 sale. So when you purchase your new concrete coating from any of our Revamp brands, you get a $60 Visa gift card, plus either 60% off the installation or 60 15-month, no-interest financing. And when you call during this program, you'll also get up to 10 carbon fiber concrete stitches free, which help reinforce cracks and stop them from spreading. A $350 value for free.
South Central Wisconsin homeowners, pick up the phone. Call 1-800-886-8411. That's 1-800-886-8411.
Back to Julian for a final check.
Well, we have our first warn alert day in the forecast for Fridays. We are going to be watching for the potential of accumulating snow that could be disrupting our Friday morning commutes and evening as well. So here's a look at our first warn forecast of what we're thinking in terms of snow potential from the latest runs. Mainly much of southern Wisconsin is about 1 to 3 inches, and that is a hard 1 to 3 inches. There's a narrow band of snowfall just outside of Rock County that could potentially see a little bit more, but towards Chicago is where we're looking for the highest snow total to be possible. Otherwise, here's a look at our 10-day forecast. The weekend's back into the 40s, but we could see some active patterns heading into next week.
All right, Julian, thanks. CBS Evening News coming your way next. We're back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6.